What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and today we've got a interesting episode. Obviously, you would have noticed, if you are a regular viewer to these, we did not have a round 19 review, and a part of that was due to the fact that on Teamcoach's end, the scores weren't released until like Wednesday. It had been a good while until those scores were released, so they're finally out, and I can actually look over how we went last week, but today I'm doing a bit of a special preview slash review. So a review for round 19, and a preview for round 20. So I'll show you how we did in round 19 quickly, and then we will go into round 20 and show you what I've got coming into tonight's matchup, Carlton v Port Adelaide. That'll be a good one. But of course, if you enjoyed the video here today and are keen to see more of it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everything is always very, very much appreciated, and I hope you guys will enjoy what we've gotten here today and what we are looking at for the next weekend. Alright, so this is what we have got coming into the round 20 week, and after our round 19 week, I am going to go a bit quicker than usual so that the video stays around the same length, but we can get both of them done. Let's have a look at our tips first off. Our tips for last week. We had a 5 out of 9 week. Nothing too crazy. This game went Brisbane's way. The Carlton one was right. Essendon was wrong, so that's scary for them. Freo was right, as I expected. Geelong, poor against the Dogs. We had GWS beating Gold Coast. We had Hawks smacking Collingwood. Collingwood's season is over at this point, I reckon. Port beating Richmond, and St Kilda smacking West Coast. Good signs for St Kilda. But 5 out of 9 is about as expected. I don't imagine too many people expecting much more, except maybe a 6 out of 9. It could have been a little better. But let's have a look at round 20. Let's get these tips over and done with now. Man, if Richmond beats Collingwood, that'll be crazy. At this point, maybe. We're going to go Collingwood here. Collingwood, you better not let them down. Some people have said North are going to beat Geelong. I am not that confident. I wish I was confident. I do not see it happening. I think Geelong's going to take it, even after a really good week against Carlton last week. They didn't see us get a win. If it was a 19-point loss, it could have been a lot worse for our boys. So I'm happy, but it'll probably go Geelong's way. We got St Kilda versus Essendon. I think off a form, St Kilda could take this one. We'll have to see how it goes. Then we got Sydney versus the Dogs. I'm going to swing Sydney's way. It's at the SCG. I reckon they're too strong over there. We've got the Dockers versus the Eagles, and off a form, and not only the fact that it's the clash, this could go either way, to be honest, but I think off of pure form, the Dockers will take it. Gold Coast versus Brisbane. It's at the Gold Coast. It's at People First. Got to keep the trend going. You got to keep the trend going. I'm going Gold Coast. Then we've got Melbourne versus the Giants. This is going to be interesting, actually. Melbourne have Maxi Gawn coming back this weekend, so that'll be really, really nice to look out for. But I reckon GWS still takes it, man. I reckon GWS still takes it. We then have Carlton versus Port Adelaide. I reckon Carlton will take that. And then Adelaide versus Hawthorn. Even at Adelaide Oval, I like my odds of Hawthorn. I reckon Hawthorn will have a good shot here. Let's see how that one goes next week. Could go either way. It really could. We know how tips usually go for me. But that is that done. Tips done for the video. Don't need to worry about that. Man, we are going at a good pace here. I like this. We're going to go Star Powers next. Let's have a look at that. Star Powers last week. Silver. This is what we had. Some good games from Whitfield in particular. 145. 2 amazing weeks from Lockie Whitfield. Love him at the moment. He's been amazing. Butters let me down. Definitely let me down. A game against Richmond that I really reckon he should have done a lot better at. But nonetheless, it ended up being Treloar who took it this week. 149. Nuts. Crazy game, lots of tackles in a wet and miserable game, realistically, but nonetheless, Treloar did well. Mighty, not bad from Errol, pretty much bang average from him, but I know I'm seeing Sheasel, Steele, surprisingly, having a good one. Honestly, compared to some, like Goulden didn't even have a bad game. Brayshaw had a little bit better, and then, yeah, the 2 others, so the Mighty was kind of weak this week, but we got a next gen. We had Nick Martin with 97, a bit less than I'm used to, and nonetheless, he was still pretty far up there. Tom De Koning is officially out now for the rest of the season, so he is not a pick we can go for. Then we go to Dane Zorko. Great game from him, 131. Absolutely the best pick. And honestly, thinking about keeping him in for the next week. We'll have to see how it goes, but that is what we had for our silver. 2 winners in Whitfield and Zorko. Good games from Goulden and okay from our midfield ball and next gen. That gave us rank 56. It's not bad. It's just not a prize card material. 574 is a great score, and if we were still fighting for season rankings, that could have seen us get up there, but it just wasn't to be, unfortunately. 574 fantasy points only got us to the 56th position, so not even top 50. It's tough. It is tough, Silver Star Powers. It's just the way it goes. We go to Ultra, though, and that's where our luck begins to change. Pretty much the same group, same lineup going in. Golden's double points saw us get 113. We had the best double points pick we could get. We had ourselves Lockie Whitfield's 145. Did us amazingly well. Nick Martin's 97 isn't anything crazy, but again, double points puts it at 200. And then we have Butters' 88 and Zorko's 131. Obviously, Zorko's being great. Butters could have chosen someone a little better. Trelaw would have been great to pick up. But nonetheless, that's all good because we got rank 14. That is a prize card. There's a win there. Very good. And even with the missing week, we are back in the top 10 for Ultra Star Powers. That's kind of hilarious. I can't believe we're finding our way further and further up the rankings still. But it goes to show, I reckon we could have been 1 or 2 in this game mode if we hadn't have missed that 1 week. It's brutal, this game. It really is. But 929 points, rank 14. That's a prize card. We got a Star Powers prize card coming our way. Happy days. So we're going to go over from Star Powers now to Top Team. And Top Team we know is important. This is what we had. Whitfield being an amazing pick. Thank God for him. 145. Did us amazingly well. Rowan Marshall also had a great game. 6 off the top, so I can't be too mad at that. Another great pick for Rowan. Another great game for him, and I'm glad I had him in there. Sherry topped the week. It's good when North Melbourne players are doing well. Very, very happy. But honestly, the surprises were outside of there. We saw Butters with his 88. Very disappointing. Could have seen us win a prize card this week if we had gone a little higher. Brayshaw was one we could have gone with. We chose him in top 18 this week. Trelaw has done it occasionally this well, but he doesn't do it as consistent enough to get the pick. So I'm not mad that I didn't pick him. I didn't expect it to happen. But yeah, I think the most reasonable one would be either Golden or Brayshaw. One of those two guys would have been one I expected. But other than that, we live with that. And then Heaney, like, it's a poor game from his standards. 78 is very, very low from Heaney's standards just for the season. And I think Heaney's kind of fallen off in that idea of him being the one you go to every single week, purely off of the fact that he's not in the Brownlow contention. I don't know whether that's like a motivational thing at this point, but yeah, he's just not needed as much. More players coming into the rotation may see him have to take a step back. That'd suck. That would really suck. But the likes of Ginnivan, he's looking like someone we could potentially pick up in the future. He's starting to get his mojo back. He's playing unreal football with Hawthorn this season, and it'd be interesting to see whether we pick him up this week. We'll have to wait and see. But this week, 87, 429. We had over 400, which is good. And we are rank number 1 still. That is what is important. 19 rounds in, rank 1. We need to stay that way. We need to stay that way as best as possible for as long as possible, because I do not want to lose this at the last second. In the last few rounds, we've got like 4 left. If we lose it, I'll be disappointed. Very disappointed. But number 1 for this week with 490, he has 300 away. So he could be one we've got to look out for. It's going to be tough. There are people coming for number 1. And I'm not allowing it to happen. I do not want it to happen. We gotta keep having good weeks. It's just fingers crossed, boys. Fingers crossed. Let's go to top 18 now, though, and a few things here and there. Ridley's changing. It's not too bad. 84 wasn't what I expected. I expected a little more, but you can see we got 4 of the top 5 there. That is unreal. That is great picking for our backman and back line. Hayden Young's 89 was all right, and Ridley's 84. That is a really solid week. Really, really solid week. It's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I did put in Stewart eventually, and it paid off wonders. 125 from Stewart. I'm so glad I did it. I mentioned it in the preview last week, and yeah, I ended up putting him in instead of Newman. A great pick. Very, very good pick. Newman didn't do as well as any of the people I picked this week, so happy with that switch out. Glad when things go to plan. Then we go to the midfield. It was okay. Like I mentioned, we put in Brayshaw this week. He dropped 120. Golden's 113 was okay, and then no one else over 100. Really, really surprising. Merritt with 109. Would have been nice to have him again. But we had Cripps' 99 against North Melbourne. Didn't expect that, but you got to live and learn. Zach Butters' 88, and then Josh Dunkley's 61. Not like involved at all. Very, very surprising that game. I believe against Sydney, right? Yeah. Very surprised he wasn't used as much, but yeah, I guess it worked for him. And then we go to the forward line, and this is probably where things get a little rough. Mackay ended up getting a little banged up this week in his game against North, so not as dominant as I was hoping. Kerno ended up taking that. Really, really annoying. I hate it when that happens. Lukey Jackson also, 72. Didn't think he'd be that low. Only had the 1 goal. Thought he'd do a bit more against that Melbourne back line, especially considering how dominant they were in that first half. So just a 1 goal is kind of disappointing. The Geelong forwards also really disappointing. 52 for Brian Myers, and I think even worse for Jeremy Cameron. 33 for Cameron. That's awful. I can't be having that. Toby Green, the worst Green on the Giants squad with only 58. And then Heaney's at 78 as well. That is an awful forward line. Really, really poor forward line this week, unfortunately. And I don't know whether it's out of pure bad luck or whether I should have seen it coming. Some players like Langford just popped off this week. He was all over it. Ginnivan, I think he started seeing midfield minutes, so maybe we start putting him in more regularly. May have to make the switch finally to Curnow because he's starting to play out of his skin. And Mackay also out. Probably sees a lot of changes come through. Could have put in Petty. And honestly, I'm surprised I didn't, knowing that he has been given the ruck role. I honestly just hadn't noticed him. I really hadn't noticed him. So that one's on me. And Joe Danaher, I don't know why I've taken him out. He is helpful with those extra ruck possessions he gets. So would be nice to put him in again this coming week. But top 18 saw us get rank 84. Even with a poor week in the forward line, still saw us actually move up a season ranking. We're in rank 2 now. This is a really, really good week. We could potentially now put ourselves in the position for rank 1 in both top 18 and top 4. That is like a full-on, I win top team at that point. I win top team. There is no other way to put it. If I get 1 and 1, you can't say I'm not a winner. You can't say it. So I'm very happy, very, very happy with how that's gone. And hopefully that means we can get one more step in front. Would be really, really nice. But again, this is where our aim is. Top 1. We want to be first for top 4 as best as we possibly can. But now we're going to go to the changes. So we're switching over to the review part. Oh, sorry, the preview part now. Round 19 review is done. Round 20 preview has begun. So let's change some players over. All right, so we start with star powers. This is what we have going into this week. Very minimal changes, as I kind of mentioned. We have got Zach Merritt in as our silver midfield bull. He replaces, I believe it was Zach Butters. So I like the replacement. I think they're up against St Kilda, which honestly means he could find himself with the ball a lot. But I know that Jack Steele will be a great player to go against him. They may tag Merritt. There are a few players in that midfield that could be tagged for Essendon, so hopefully it's not Merritt. But then we go the other change, which is Andrew Brayshaw as the Mighty. They are up against West Coast in some poor form, and I reckon this could be a game for Brayshaw to shine. It's either going to be him or Sarong, I'm certain, but I hope it's Brayshaw, and I hope it goes well for me. Other than that, we're keeping Zorko, not chucking in Max Gorn this week. We're going to see how he goes there. Could live to regret it. There is a chance, but I'm going to live with my regret, I reckon. I'm going to live with my mistake. I'll just have to. We got Nick Martin as the next gen as well, and Lockie Whitfield as the defensive dynamo. No changes there. So let's have a look at Ultra. This is our Ultra, and the only change this week is our Zach Merritt midfield bull. No longer with Zach Butters in there. We are going with Merritt, the other Zach. So no other changes. We did win with this lineup plus Zach Butters last week. So hopefully with the addition of Merritt, we see ourselves another good week. We just need a good 100-point performance from Martin. We don't even need 145. We just need a high 100s from him. That would be awesome. And another big performance from Errol. We had a 150 from him not too long ago. So if we can get something similar, would be great. Zorko's 131 helped us a lot too, and it let us have the 88 from Butters and be okay with it. But the change this week, hopefully for the better. So that's Ultra. That's what we're looking at there. We go to top 4. We keep Whitfield. I've changed in Curnow for the forward. I am terrified of this pick. This could make or break the top 4 this week, but if it makes, I'll be over the moon. Harry Mackay is in this week, and off of pure form, Curnow has been better, so I'm putting him in. I'm giving him the shot. Rowan Marshall, I thought about changing up the ruck, but Rowan has played really well for 2 straight weeks, and he's up against a matchup of Sammy Draper, who just compared to each other, Draper cannot keep up with Marshall across the field. I reckon Marshall will have him covered and will do his thing in the midfield in the ruck contest too, so that's good. And I'm going all in with Brayshaw this week. I've chucked him in as my midfielder, so he can have games where he does struggle, but the hope is that Brayshaw pops off this game and does really well. So that is my top 4. And of course, we want to stay number 1 and hopefully things continue to go our way. And then we go to our top 18. No change in the defender's position. No changes at all. It was almost too perfect last week, and so I thought, we got to stick with it. There's not much change I can make. We have the occasional ones that could have done better. Young, Ridley, there's still potential for it to go up, and if we can keep the good games coming from Stewart, Sheasel, and we caught a good game from Sinclair, we could see some really, really big scores here this week, especially with the help of our awesome defenders. And then we go to the midfield. I've chucked in Tom Green. Tom Green is up against the weaker midfield in Melbourne right now, although they do have some stepping up. Obviously, the loss of Petrarca and the fact that the midfielders have kind of struggled as of recent. Oliver's been all right. Oliver's started to find some form again, which is great for him, but just in general, that midfield hasn't been able to keep up, and it's what saw him lose fairly easily to Fremantle last week. So I'm going Tom Green. We got Merritt back in. He is Mr. Consistent. Hopefully he stays Mr. Consistent, and with 100 points will help us go along. Sammy Walsh, I'm hoping he pops off tonight. Obviously, it's a tough midfield matchup against Port Adelaide. They like to rack up numbers, so hopefully Sam can hold his own in there. Staying with Errol. Errol has remained pretty good most of the season, so no reason to take him out. And of course, a lot of faith on Brayshaw. Marshall, we talked about him in top 4. And then we move to the forwards. This had to change this week. There had to be some changes, and I've had to make some. Danaher comes back in. I really feel like I shouldn't have taken him out in the first place with the fact that he's getting ruck and hit outs. Those are the easy points, and he gets himself up the ground. I talked about Kerno's form. He replaces Mackay. Ginnivan comes in. I'm hoping I get a little bit of that magic this week. Hogan replaces Toby Green, and I hope that that's a good choice as well as a main option marking target and a potential Coleman middle winner, even though I think Kerno's probably got it in the bag now. Hogan can still put up a threat. Cameron, I think he's had a rough game last week and can come back, and we need some magic from Heaney. He obviously gets midfield minutes, so it's tough to take him out. Hopefully, Heaney has himself a good game. I need him to have a good game, man. But that is the teams we have got this week. Let's go collect our prize card. I almost completely forgot about this. The prize card for Star Powers. Amazing that we have our chance to get one. And I've already decided who I want. I want Isaac Rankin. I think he's one of those players that are super exciting, and I would love to not have to worry about purchasing him. And there we go. We've got him on the way. If we scroll down, you can see now Isaac Rankin has been won. Man, I love it when I win some prize cards. It's a great feeling. It's an awesome feeling. And that is it for today's video. Hopefully it wasn't too crazy and too much to deal with, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everything is always very, very much appreciated. Again, thank you for tuning in throughout the entire thing. Hopefully you guys do well with your Teamcoach teams as well this week, but nonetheless, thank you so much for tuning into this one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Enjoy your weekend of footy. Goodbye.